By request, I have a video of my Hot Wheels 442 collection. This is a complete collection of every Hot Wheels 442 released to the North American market. So by saying that, it does not include Hot Wheels released to India, Mexico, or Europe, because there are actually quite a few more variations on those ones, but they're extremely hard to come by. Very rarely seen on eBay, and most people don't collect them just because of the scarcity, and really they do sell for top dollar. But for the North American market, these were the flat out 442s that you would have been able to buy between the years of 1979, its initial release as a new release car, and 1983, again retooled, which means the casting was destroyed for a period of time. They did not make these cars past 1983, and 1983, or it might be 83, 84, I should say, 83, 84 for this green 442, a Canada release only. But in 2012, they re-released this casting. It's the exact same car. You'll only notice a difference on the text on the base. So I'll show that to you now. So I have both cars overturned now. You can see the original 1983/84. We're going to call it 84 from now on because I'm pretty sure that's when it was released. The text is upside down for you, but you'll see it's right side up on the blue car when they're both turned over in the same direction. You can see that this one was made in Malaysia. It's got a cast bar over top of where this car originally was made, Hong Kong being the actual original country of origin, and known as the Flat Out 442. Here you can see it's now made in Thailand, and obviously some different copyright information. The Hot Wheel logo on the front, ahead of the front wheels, which of course was not present on the older vehicles. So we're going to go backwards through time in the order that the cars were released. This being the 2012 release for the Hot Wheels Hot Ones series. It was a series that was running for I think 2 years, might have been 3. Pretty sure it was 2, and it was like a revamp of the cars, kind of a nostalgia series for the original 80s cars, such as this one here. Interestingly, the 2012 featured silver Hot One wheels, and by Hot Ones, that's these wheels here that are a 5-slot type wheel, or 6-slot, sorry, known as the Hot Ones, and on the old versions they were gold most of the time. Some cars in the 90s were released with silver Hot Ones, but they really hadn't been seen since the early 90s. This here has the gold Hot One wheels. I did say earlier it's a Canadian release only, even though it does have Malaysia on the base. So it's a pretty rare car, and in mint condition such as that, or close to mint, you're looking at maybe $50 to $80 depending on how many people are bidding against you. But here is the 1983 release. So the green one there was 1984. Even though I started out by saying 83, it's actually an 84. This here 83 release of the metallic gold Flat Out 442 with gold Hot One wheels. There were no variations of this car other than a base difference. So you got to be right down to collecting base variations to get any sort of variation on this particular year and casting release. It came with Malaysia on the cast over bar, and by cast over bar I mean you see there's like a long rectangular bar under Flat Out 442 and Malaysia printed on top of it. This one has Hong Kong written under it with only a small bar, so you will actually find older cars not in the gold metallic but with just Hong Kong and no small bar. So those are the niggly wigglies of variation hunting if you're into that. I used to be more into that. I'm not so much anymore. I kind of gave up on it because there's just too many variations. So right here you'll see 2 yellow cars. One has the gold Hot One wheels. One has the traditional black wall wheels that we're quite accustomed to. You can see the difference on this zoom in. This car was a re-release from 1980. This is a 1982 release with the gold Hot One wheels, and I'm going to say it now, which will make more sense if you're not familiar with these cars, but this one has no pentagon under the bell tampo. You see bell ahead of the rear wheel. And again on this one, no pentagon below Bell. But when you look at the 1980 release, there's a blue pentagon underneath of Bell and behind 442. So you can see it just ahead of the rear wheel. When you look at all three cars, you quickly observe that the blue pentagon is fairly prominent. So this yellow one here was a 1980 release, and in 82 they reused the body and the base of this car, primarily with the gold Hot One wheels, because the Hot One series was taking off. But and with the changeover, there was no pentagon anymore for this new release. That was the only difference other than the wheels, was the Tampo now did not include the blue pentagon. But there were certain cars that were still released in 1982 with the original Blackwall wheels. Now the only difference between these two cars here being that blue pentagon. Believe it or not, that blue pentagon not being on this transitionary car makes it extremely hard to find, very rare, and I hunted down countless yellow 442s before I finally found a no pentagon Blackwall version. All those cars in the background you see are either gold Hot Ones or Blackwalls with a blue pentagon, but none without. And if you do see one back there without, it was worn off, and I could tell based upon scrutiny with a magnifying glass. So it took me a while to get that one car. It wasn't cheap. I think I paid about $25 for it. But that's enough about that variation change. The first release of this car was a 1979 orange paint version. The Tampo is virtually the same as the 1980 release, although you will see that orange replaces the original white. So you can see in the back there's some orange writing over top of behind the rear wheel, and on this one it's in white. So everywhere that there was orange, the first release had it in white, including behind GT, forward of the 442. You can see its white circle, whereas this one has an orange circle behind red GT. Some small changes to note. Interestingly, back in 1979 there was also a pentagon and no pentagon version. So here you see the blue pentagon forward of the rear wheel, and here you see it not forward of the rear wheel. I found equal numbers for the most part between my vast collection of other 442s in orange that had pentagons and no pentagons. As you can see, looking at two rows of cars here, there are 37 Hot Wheel flat-out 442s on the table currently for my comparisons of variations, including bases and tampos and whatnot. So I think I have a pretty good handle on the 442s, but you know, sometimes surprises come up. So if you've seen something that isn't described here, I'd be very keen to hear about it, so let me know with a comment. And that is my Hot Wheels 442 video by special request. Hope you enjoyed the video, and of course if you have any special requests, please feel free to leave a comment and I will attempt to make a video for you. Happy hunting, everyone.